So, welcome to Backstory. Thank you. A night of true stories, poetry, and flights of fancy. I'm Laurie O'Brien, and I am your host tonight.
Yeah.
Yes. And tonight's theme is the Defiant Ones, which was a 1958 dramatic adventure film about two escaped prisoners, one black, one white, Cullen and Joker, played by Sidney Poitier and Tony Curtis. These men, they were shackled together, and they have to cooperate in order to survive this ordeal they're happening. And word has it that this film inspired Carl Weathers, Apollo Creed in Rocky. It inspired him to become an actor. And in 1985, switching 5'8" to 8'5", he was also inspired to partner up with Robert Urich to remake the film, right? He made a remake of it. Okay, so here's the thing. As the master of ceremonies and the host, I feel that it's my job to set the mood tonight. I'm going to delve into the theme and relate said theme to my life and society. But the truth is that I'm just too exhausted from all the deep thinking that I've been doing these days, and from writing heavy, meaningful things like eulogies, and dealing with people who are struggling with cancer and aging, and my burst pipes in my kitchen, and my whole redo of my floor and everything. So I'm just not going to do that, okay? I don't have the energy. So instead, I'm just going to skip right past profound and moving and tell you straight out that I was in that goddamn 1985 remake of The Defiant Ones. Hey, I was the only woman in the whole damn thing, and I played a deplorable, sex-starved racist hussy who seduces the hell out of the white guy Joker, betrays the black guy Cullen, and ends up literally on the ground crying and eating dirt. Yeah, it was great. It was really a lot. It was a hell of a lot of fun. And I like to think that Pauline was absolutely, completely opposite of me. That's why it was so much fun, and I will leave that to you in the end to make the decision. And I got to wear these really tight jeans. The New York Times called them designer jeans and called me an unlikely person to be caught out in the middle of in a trailer out in the middle of nowhere. But Robert Urich gave me those jeans to me at the end of the shoot because he liked the way I wore them. And guess what? They still fit me. Yeah, I put them on the other day. Took me a long time to get them on, but I did get them on. And so, I defied all logic in 35 years. I can get them on. So, they are too tight to be comfortable to wear tonight. But I had Carl take some pictures of me, and I have them on my phone. So after the show, if you're interested, I would be happy to show you. Okay. So getting the part was kind of a miracle because Robert Urich's wife, Heather Menzi, right. She really wanted the part, and Robert, as both the lead actor and the producer, he had all the power, and he could have so cast her. But after way too many callbacks, 5 actually, I got the part. How did I? Why did I? Well, I don't know. Maybe I was really good. Who knows? But I have to tell you this really weird thing. Somewhere in the middle of this audition marathon, the casting director, Ross Brown, he called me up and he told me about the situation with Robert's wife, and he mentioned how sweet she was, but how pissed off she was. And then he asked me if I thought that I would be able to play someone who would fuck their own 12-year-old son. He was on the phone with me, and he asked me this question. Okay, now actors are a strange breed. I mean, we think that we can do, anything. We can be anything. A man, sure. A pro skier, yeah, why not? But your own 12-year-old son? Well, I have to admit that I answered way too quickly, and I said yes. And I really don't know why I did it. I mean, that isn't anywhere inside of me. It really isn't. But the bigger question is, why did Ross ask that question? I mean, yes, Pauline was sexy and she had a 12-year-old son, but child molestation was a far cry from anything that I saw in that script. But maybe it was just some sort of brilliant direction, because somehow, some way, I must have brought that truly slimy vibe into the room because I landed the job. And it was Robert, though, who paid for it in the end, because his wife never forgave him. Forgave him for not casting her. So on the night after we shot this really long scene where I seduced Robert, Joker, with beef stew, and because he's supposed to be starving and have no manners, and he's gulping his food, and there were about 1 million takes of this very complicated scene, Robert ate more than his share of beef stew and air, and he was really miserable. And when he went home, Heather served him that exact same beef stew and made him eat every single bite. Yeah. He did not defy her. He was a very good husband, after all. And he was really a great guy. I worked with him years later on Lazarus Man. He was generous, not just as an actor, but as a man. And so was Carl Weathers. Really great, both of them. Real men, broad-shouldered and all gooey inside. They're great. I got to manhandle an axe. It was my job to swing this axe up over my head and down on the chains, the handcuffs that were binding the two men together, that were draped over, the chains were draped over a wood stump, right? Of course, I didn't actually slam the axe down on the chains, but both actors were actually crouched down on either side of the wood stump for the camera looking up at me. And it was really a dangerous situation because I had to be taught how to use the axe and not, like slam it into my back before I came down on it. I'll never forget the look in those men's eyes. Do you know how to use an axe? That probably would have been a better question for Ross to have asked me. I painted my fingernails red, and then I chewed it all off so that it looked really scuzzy in the close-ups when I got cozy-faced with Joker, and I didn't wear any makeup, and a lot of people thought that I was cast against type. Okay, a critic in 1958 said that the theme of the Defiant Ones was, what keeps men apart is their lack of knowledge of one another. With that knowledge comes respect, and with respect come comradeship and even love. This sounds like something we should think about today. But I'm not going there. Because speaking of great reviews, I got a great one in The Hollywood Reporter. It said, as a lonely and desperate woman, I stood out in a superb cast. It really was a great cast, and it was really a great experience. And I loved playing Pauline, really. And I feel so blessed that I got to do that and that I'm an actor. And even with the burst pipes and all the cancer that's attacking my friends and my family and people dying all around me, and I never, ever lose sight of the fact that really when it all is said and done, I'm one of the blessed ones. So, performing tonight, we have Annie Corzin, Elizabeth Iannacci, Gerald James, Nicole Davis, Lyle Fredericks, and to get us up all and running, we are going to hear from Rico Anderson, who will be doing an actual backstory. Now, as some of you know, at Backstory, rather than introducing our storytellers and poets with a list of their stellar accomplishments, we like to have them answer a question, and then we use the answer to that question to introduce them. And this week's question is, tell us a time when you defied the odds against you. And here is Rico's answer. Before, and when I first moved to LA, there were certain people who told me to my face that I wouldn't nor couldn't cut it as an actor. That I would only ever get bit roles. I would only and always be seen and considered as one or two particular types of characters, and I would never be a working actor. And while the struggle is still and always real, and I'm always grateful for the roles I have received, I am now an award-winning working actor, playing a variety of lead and supporting roles. I am a celebrity guest at sci-fi conventions, a host on a variety of platforms, and I continue to go above and beyond what I originally moved here to do as an entertainer.